Good thing I didn't talk a lot, because I did not notice that my mic was still muted. I thought I had unmuted it. So yeah, chat works. My name is Shiro, I'm a comic artist. I have ADHD, that's why I avoid eye contact with the camera. I don't do it on purpose, and what I usually do on these streams is I talk a little bit about what happened artistically during this past week, because I have a absolutely huge ego and only talk about myself. And then we move on and I draw the weekly webcomic Bootleg Cookie, and that's about it. So you guys didn't miss much while I was muted. This past Friday was my birthday, and I got a new t-shirt from my sister. It's probably backwards for you guys, but it says sarcasm is my love language. I absolutely love it. To the surprise of no one, I am now 43 years old. I think it's very obvious from looking at me. I also seem to have a bit of a lazy eye now. I should probably call my optometrist about that. Like, I knew I had a bit of a lazy eye, but now it's like I look like a pug. But not happy with that. Not only was my birthday this Friday, today is actually the official day of the 40th anniversary of me picking up a Crayola felt pen. Basically, today is the day I started drawing, and the problem is I never stopped. And I usually like to get myself a little something for my anniversaries. For the 35th, I got myself a coral colored Posca pen. That's how expensive they are. I consider that an anniversary gift. For my 40th, I got myself some Shikishi boards. Basically, and they're cheap for a reason. They're boards, they're paper boards mounted on cardstock. And they're usually used for autographs and quick sketches, and some people like to use them for more elaborate art. And I have but one question. How the fuck? The paper on these things, it's like drawing on toilet paper. You can't use a regular eraser. I had to use my malleable eraser, and I had to dab it. I couldn't rub it because it lifts the paper. Bad enough. That paper does not like watercolor at all. It will slurp up the color so fast. The pigment mixed in with the water will not have time to spread. That's how fast it drinks up the water of a watercolor brush strokes. It's almost scary. It works decent with markers, but I still had one thing to test with that board, and that was acrylic ink. I didn't even try. I have watercolor ink. I didn't even try the watercolor ink. I thought that acrylic ink would give me a break. Technically, it did its frickin' best, people. So basically what I did is I used, because it's an anniversary and I wanted to treat myself, I used some of my Liquitex, not sponsored, but I frickin' wish, because I love Liquitex, it's not even funny. I used my Liquitex Quinacridone Magenta, and then I use my Deleter G-Pen, because I also love G-Pen. Not sponsored, once again, wish it was, because I love my G-Pen nib so much. Just gonna grab these ones here. I do believe these are my Marus. That's more for detail, much thinner line, less line variations, very scratchy, They're good too. I don't use my Saji pen that much, and these are my speed balls. And these are my various holders for my nibs. Love my G pen. My G pen is so forgiving. Because lest we forget, I am left-handed. And a lot of specialized art supplies are not fans, surprisingly enough, of left-handedness. Brushes, they don't care. Brushes give zero shit if you're drawing with your hands, your feet, your mouth. Some specialized calligraphy pens and nibs like that, sometimes they will complain because they expect you to be pulling, and when you're right-handed, when you're right, you pull. When you're left-handed, you push if you're going in the same direction. If you're right-handed, you try to write minimum. That's what it looks like. You're left-handed, you're pushing. And nibs don't like pushing. So I force myself to pull when I draw. I literally cannot pull while writing. I would need to write like upside down or something. And sometimes I catch myself, I will pull when I draw. And the G pen is like, I got you, fam. But the paper on this... Oh yes, you will see. The paper on this is so weak. Like, you have to draw fast. You have to develop a speed like you have to develop a speed with alcohol pens. But it's not the same speed. God forbid. Might be helpful. So you develop... You have to go a certain speed or else the paper will soak up the water in the ink and the line will bloom. Even if it's a little bit, you're like, ah! So you have to go fast, and then it's okay. But you can't erase because that will lift the paper slightly. Ergo, why I said it feels like drawing on toilet paper. But it does that too with frisket film. Frisket film is used for masking, and it has very low tack, like just enough for it to stick on paper. Don't use it on printer paper because even if it's low tack, it's still tack. You try to use it on printer paper, your drawing is fucked. And even then, knowing that the paper lifts easily on these, I grabbed my sheet of frisket and I tapped it and I rubbed it several times on my apron, on my art apron, to even lower the tack. And I deposited on so gently, like a gold leaf. And usually, like I like to tap it a little bit to make sure it sticks. I didn't even do that. Then I had a brand new blade, my screen tone blade that I like to use for frisket and screen tone. Brand new blade, shiny. I was able to cut with not much trouble. And I was able to airbrush. I airbrushed. I didn't put it away yet, just to show you guys. I airbrushed with an Ohuhu P2 Light Violet. They recently changed their... Not sponsored. They recently changed their coding, but they got both codes. And I had a little something to do with that. In fact, it was my suggestion when we had a meeting with several other creatives. They asked us about that, and I was like, well, if you plan on changing the codings, put the old one too. So like that, if they search for the old one, they'll find a new one. Yeah, I'm gonna take credit for that because I did say that in the meeting. So... So I was able to airbrush because I figured if I was able to apply marker with not too much trouble, I should be able to airbrush it with not too much trouble. I did have trouble, but that time that was my skill issues. But we somehow ended up with some perfectly palatable portraits of Sylvando. Now, I don't know if the camera... Ah, there we go. You see what I mean by the paper lifting? There's like some pills like on an old shirt. And like, I did my freaking best here. That was the first one up close. I didn't even think about coloring his earrings when I was done. I was done up here. But I still had like tons of fun, and I struggle a lot less with the second portrait. I even tried to use the accidental blooming to my advantage. Tried to thicken up the lines on the hand that was in front of us. But I somehow made it work. Paper lifted a lot where I put the frisket, and most of the place I was able like to use my finger to brush it back down, but only like on the white parts. You can see on the airbrush parts that the paper just does not want to flatten back down. But on the white parts you can't even tell. But I made it work! Why? Because I am a stubborn mofo. Sorry about that, but it'll happen again and again and again. Also, while I'm here and I start to move my windows around, so we can move on to Bootleg Cookie. Procreate recently updated. Man, my music is so low for me. You guys hear it perfect. Music is stupid low for me. I can't hear it sometimes at all. I should probably like wear a headset or something. Connect my earbuds so I can hear it with you guys. They updated their brushes, but here's the thing. Now the new brushes are in their own library, and you can swap the libraries. Like it, I can't even say if you update Procreate. Pretty sure Procreate updates whether you like it or not, and that's what it did for me. Like I turned it on and Procreate is updating. Ah, okay. But it specified, because I was looking at the screen while it was updating, like, hurry up. That it was putting all the new brushes in their own library, and now it's a little menu. I will make a screenshot of it soon. I was planning to make a post about that, but then, you know, birthday stuff happened. Maybe you just... And if you want to know what brushes I use for Procreate, feel free to join the So Very Unofficial Discord, seeing as I have a channel where I share the brushes that I use in the Clip Studio, the brushes and the tools that I use in Clip Studio and in Procreate. So Torrigus is there. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the Procreate version of the Dragon Ball Z brush pen. Old French is there. Old French. That's me! Also, sorry it's so dark today. It's gray outside. I can't put my top light up here because then I have a big glaring ball on my screen. I cannot win. I cannot win. So we're just going to click a couple things here, and then we are going to move directly to drawing Bootleg Cookie. I had someone on Webtoon call me equally red flag for not seeing any good side to the relationship in the strip where the list where I tell my ex that I know his list, he would only put good stuff and I would only put bad stuff, and that person said, that I sounded like a red flag because I would only see bad stuff and I needed some time to step back and reevaluate. Dude! I am trying to leave an abusive relationship. Now is not a time to reevaluate. Now is the time to run the fuck away. Like, I'm laughing now, but seriously, that is no laughing matter because, like I keep saying, and I will repeat it until it is solidly in you guys' head, okay? I was lucky that my abuser was incompetent. And why do I keep repeating that? It's not because I think I'm smarter than everybody else. Is that I think that specific abuser was stupider than anybody else. Because an abuser, bonus points if they're narcissistic, are very, very good at manipulation. They are, like, everybody else in the friend circle would be like, oh, but he's, well, le masculin pour alléger le texte, but there are also women abusers. They're such a nice person. They're always nice with me. You must be imagining things, and then everybody's gaslighting you. And I was like, no, he's like, he's really bad at this. It's very obvious. And when I told them that maybe they were missing context and they need to reread the past couple of strips, they confirmed they had the context, but they doubled down on calling me equally red flag. Sir or madame, or neither or both? If I am equally a red flag, then wouldn't you encourage this breakup? For the good of the other person if you're so concerned about them? Would you then turn around and be like, well, you let them on by giving them another chance? Are you that type? Anyway, I deleted the comments because I felt it was dangerous for possible victims of relationship abuse to read that and try and rethink their escape plan and try to give their abuser a second chance. No. And that's another thing about being careful when leaving your abuser. Because, once again, mine was incompetent. A lot of abusers. Sometimes when you're at the point of leaving them, they can get downright dangerous. And they will cancel your subscription to Life magazine. That's why you gotta be careful. And if you got a solid plan to leave, now is not the time to question yourself. Take a step back and reevaluate the good points of your relationship. No. Split. Go. Shoot. And I just got a text from Mom, and that's usually pretty important. No, just tell me to do less wash, because we're on a well and the well is low. You okay, buddy? Okay. Always gotta remember to hydrate. Oh, look at that. I'm pretending that I can, that I can do perspective. Notice I'm still pissed off. I was pissed off the entire time. I managed to, like, have some fun with Mom as we were driving to his place, and that's an hour drive, a second hour drive to get back. Hope you guys are having a good time while we're here. And if not, well, that's on you, isn't it? Just gonna draw a cartoon car because I think it'd be funnier. Come on. I am struggling with selecting text in my script because I am a professional. No, but I really like this cartoon car. It looks stupid. I love it. Tell how old I am just by the phone I am holding in this comic. Plus, I think I had like a ton of Velvet Unicorn stickers on it. Of course, here you gotta imagine the Jacques Cousteau voice in SpongeBob. Over 3 hours later. Because of course you gotta imagine when he says that line, his voice was shaking a little bit. Because he knew he was in trouble then. But it's true that I did try. I did try to give him a... like, that is the one last chance I tried to give him. Because I knew his father did not want him to have a TV in his dorm room. He was not supposed to own a TV. So by ringing the doorbell and trying to get his attention so he could, you know, sneak his TV in his room or something. But like, here's another thing, okay? I know that, like, he had a dorm room. He was renting a dorm room at the local college. But of course, he still had a room at his house. He just needed the dorm room because, once again, 1 hour travel time. He was not gonna do that every day. His room was bare. Like, there was nothing in his room. Nothing. Not a poster. Not any, like, specialized decorative bedding. Not a single decoration. There was no electronics. He had a sink. Like, that's questionable too, you know? Like, his dad was divorced, his mom was imported. His stepmom was imported, I should say. His dad talked like you would expect his face to open up and we see a little alien inside. You know what I mean? And I met his actual mom like once and she was an absolute darling. Same for her husband. Like, they both talk like they were human beings. Like they were born as babies. You know what I mean? And not just manufactured like his dad. So his behavior with me, guessing he learned that somewhere. You know what I mean?
Like, you would think, okay? You're staying in a dorm. You're not staying in your own apartment. In a way, yes, but in a way, no. You're staying in a dorm. Like, you go home for holidays, you go home for summer. And his room was completely bare. Fun fact, his family used to live in what was known as a presbytère. It was an old presbytère. It's the house where the priest used to live. Usually not far or right next to the church. And these houses usually have a lot of rooms. And usually they're converted to like multiple housing, like rentals and stuff like that. The one where I live right now, it's a bed and breakfast. It was briefly a what's the name of that in English? A babysitting place. And then it was apparently a place to house the elderly, and now it's a bed and breakfast. But yeah, to see a room this bare, like absolutely no decoration, no poster. The walls weren't painted; they were still like that polywood, fake wood panel thing. But not fake wood panel like the ones I used to have that were literally just wallpaper painted like wood. Like, that was questionable at best, you know?